Hello, Sensata Product University trainee. Welcome to our MPI 101 series. In this series, we will walk you through some of our new encoder signal accessories that were released in June of 2019. In this training, we will introduce our signal accessories and walk you through what each does as well as what kind of applications it can support. Encoders are vital components in a variety of industrial and commercial applications. Normally, they are the key sensors in applications with motors, like large pieces of capital equipment. Over time, application requirements can change, and the encoders have to either provide more or different information, or distribute their data more widely. Traditionally, end users would have to purchase new encoders that can provide the information they need, or they would have to jury-rig a solution. Encoder signal accessories can provide an easy and reliable solution to the changing needs of applications. Signal accessories, also referred to as encoder modules, can offer a number of different signal manipulations depending on the application. This includes signal isolation, division, broadcasting, and more. In the following slides, we will cover each of our encoder modules, what they do, and show examples of where they would be used. The optical isolator module does a simple function. It provides electrical isolation for the data signals. This allows them to be shifted to a higher or lower voltage level to make them compatible with a variety of controllers without fear of electrical crosstalk or ground loops. The same functionality allows the optical isolator to be used as a signal repeater or to split the encoder output signal into two or more data streams by daisy chaining modules together. Optical isolator modules are useful in retrofitting or factory outfitter applications. These are circumstances where the encoder may operate perfectly fine and may not need replacement, but the controller is replaced and the output required is incompatible with the current encoder output. The signal the encoder produces can be routed through the optical isolator module to the controller to avoid replacing the encoder. Our optical isolator module can adjust signals in the range from 5 to 24 VDC plus or minus 5% and provide either line driver or open collector output types. The intrinsic safety barrier module limits the amount of power that can go into hazardous areas during a fault condition. This prevents the creation of a spark that could touch off an explosion. Intrinsic safety barriers can be used with any of Sensata BEI's intrinsic safety encoders. They should not be used with encoders from other companies as those encoders may not have the same electrical characteristics. It is important to realize that the barrier forms a complete system with the encoder. Using an intrinsically safe encoder without a barrier or vice versa will not be a protected system. The dual encoder to USB converter takes an encoder signal and converts it to data values for use with computer or lab equipment. This is most useful when you need a quick way to gather data about rotary movement of a system, say a rotary flow meter for example, without having to invest in a dedicated data collection system. It can also be used to set up in data sampling mode, in case the user wants to monitor their system and either plot variation in data over time or try to capture intermittent events. The anti-dither module reduces excess counts by an encoder in high vibration environments. It accomplishes this by injecting a 1/4 cycle of hysteresis into the signal. In a variety of long train applications like printing presses, conveyors, food inspection stations, and others, there can be a lot of rattling around of equipment which translates to rotary vibration on the motor and encoder. These vibrations can sometimes be miscounted by the controller, causing the overall travel to be improperly controlled. Typically, to avoid this problem, one would have to slow down the process to minimize the vibration, thereby reducing throughput. Using an anti-dither module cleans up that vibration and makes it easier for the controller to read. The divide by module divides an incoming data signal from an encoder and divides it by a specified factor. Some processes are synchronized, but not in a one-to-one fashion. For example, if you need to load 10 widgets into a carton before you can move the carton to a ceiling labeling station, for every 10 activations of the widget counter, you need 1 activation of a carton closer. So you might use a signal encoder and module with a 10-to-1 divide by built into it in order to accomplish your application. The serial to parallel converter takes a serial input from 5 to 28 volts and turns it into a 16-bit parallel word. This device is useful mostly for retrofit situations in which a customer already has a controller that accepts a parallel input. If they need to change the encoder, switching to a serial SSI output would make a huge difference in cabling it up, and SSI is more reliable. With an SSI encoder, you still need to get the signal into a parallel format for the existing controller, and this converter will do the job for you. The encoder signal broadcaster module takes a single encoder signal and shares it through a 4-way optically isolated splitter. This allows the user to produce multiple encoder signals off of one encoder. Furthermore, each signal produced by the broadcaster can be further modified by inserting a special functional board into a slot for that particular signal. This function allows the user to designate a master encoder and then share that exact same signal with up to 3 slave encoders. This makes it useful for electronic line shafting when the user needs to coordinate several processes on a conveyor. The broadcaster is also built to accept mini modules that have a variety of functions such as level shifting and divide by to make those outputs more versatile. There are a lot of possible combinations of encoder outputs to the desired output and data adjustment needed. To make finding which part exactly fits the application, we created a matrix that makes it super simple to understand what module will get the job done. Visit Sensata.com underneath our resource page to get the matrix, which helps identify which module an application needs, what signal the encoder is producing currently, and what part number you need to get it to produce the correct signal that will work.